Wow, double ones.
What are you nerding out about now?
Good timing, good timing, Kurt. We appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Made it myself.
All right. So off and on throughout the year, my wife, she thinks ADHD is a game to win. Back when they first started putting out, in the last couple of years, they started putting out real tests you could take, like see what you are. And I've always known that I had some kind of ADHD because of my schooling and just the symptoms out there. I've been a paramedic for 30 years, so whatever. So I took the test. I don't know. I scored like a 15 out of 20, 25, something like that. And my wife took it. She said, oh, that's interesting. And she took it. And she goes, ha! And she turned around. Hers was like a 21 out of 25 or something. I was like, that's not winning. That means you're so she's always doing little things to entertain her brain. And like she likes find it games, like the ones where you move stuff and find it on the screen and those kind of things. But puzzles and that new stuff that's come out in the last couple of years, diamond art, where you just get the pre-made picture and it's these tiny little plastic diamonds that you stick on. And we recently cracked open a puzzle that was from Rick and Morty. And I'm a huge fan of that show. She's never seen it, which is hilarious because she's trying to figure out the pieces. I'm naming the characters and such. She's like, and then she sees something in the picture, like, what is this show even about? It's like, oh, we could watch it while we do the puzzle. We didn't watch it. But it was amazing because the creators who made the puzzle, I know it was licensed from the show creators or whatever, but they got the heart of the show because not only is the art just all over the place and the perspective on it is a little crazy, so that things that look like, you're looking at the box, you're looking at the table and they should spread out more, they would be on top of each other, and it was weird. But then the puzzle pieces are in just these crazy shapes. There's a little planet that had to be fit somewhere because that's not going to snap in anywhere until you build the frame, right? And it was just so much fun. And she kept saying, man, something's wrong with this puzzle. This isn't going to fit. Like, nah, it's going to fit. You just got to have faith. And we took 3 or 4 nights this past week just at the kitchen table, just doing it. And we finished it up like a night or two ago. And it fit, of course, it fit, and it's glorious. And the first thing she did, because she was very happy about it, she took out the puzzle glue and started gluing it. I'm like, what are we going to do with it after you glue it? She said, I don't know, but that was a hard puzzle, so we're not taking it apart. So that's what I've been nerding out about this week. It's a blast. And then she had the gall to look at me and go, why don't you force me to do this more often? I'm like, because I like watching TV. Why don't you force me to do this more often? Because she hates TV. Because that's the thing with autism and ADHD. I don't know if she has autism. I know in autism and in ADHD, pattern recognition. You can just predict what's going to happen, and everything gets boring. So things like puzzles and video games that are puzzles basically really capture her interest. So it's hard to get her, and she still loves some good shows, but it's kind of hard to get her to sit down and watch a show for more than 1 or 2 episodes in a week, not a night, in a week. So I've been working on Ozark season 1 for like a year now. Just saying, it's crazy. So, all right, that's mine. And we asked Olivia, we did prep her before the show and talk to her and tell her, like we tell every guest, we call it nerding out about because it's fatherhood meets fandom, but really is what do you love? What are you passionate about? And I love it. You are passionate about being a parent right now and just eating up everything you can about learning about parenting.
I am. Yeah, I have 2 babies. I have a 2.5. He's actually almost 3-year-old, and I have a 1-year-old. So they're really close together, and they're both babies. And my son just got potty trained, and my daughter's still in diapers. And yeah. And I'm now, trying to solve problems that I don't know anything about. So when my son started having temper tantrums, I was like, okay, so what do I do for temper tantrums? Then I learned really useful things like that I have anger management issues. That was really important.
Yes.
Every parent does.
Honestly, okay, so I want this. I really read that if you shut down their temper tantrums with fear-based tactics, right? Like if you're like, stop crying, or or I will kill you, right? Like if you're doing, or stop crying, or I will give you something to cry about, right? If you're using these fear-based tactics, then those children tend to grow up and have anger management issues. And when I read that, I thought, oh, I have anger management issues. And that was no surprise to anybody else in my life, but it was kind of a surprise to me. I don't know how it was, but it was. Anyway, because my mother was the kind of mom who she had 8 children. So there was no room for identifying emotions and teaching you to breathe. And, it's just like, stop that now, or else it's going to be bad for you. And you're like, okay, I'm going to stop right now. And so there was that. And so then I'm learning things about myself as I'm learning how to manage my children more effectively, maybe than learning a different skill set, right? Because I don't have the skills that I necessarily need. But yeah, it's been really fun. I'm reading all the emotionally intelligent children use these words, and this, I'm just like trying to learn so that I do a really good job. I always say, like, parenting is like you're trying to do the most important job in the world with the least amount of energy output. Right? Like you're so tired.
So I think we put so much into it, right? We put so much extra into it when kids are simple to a point. They're simple, and we're so exhausted.
Yeah, so exhausted. I mean, my daughter still is not sleeping through the night. Why? Why doesn't my daughter sleep through the night? She's 1. Oh my gosh. So then I'm up regularly through the night. It's much easier now because I'm just have her sleep with me, because I'm just like, I'm not getting out of bed for you anymore. That's a terrible thing to say, but just sleep right here with me. And then when you cry, I'll just be right here when you need me. But yeah, it's a lot of energy, and you're like, I just want to relax. And instead you need to go to the park because they need to go to the park. It's just it's an interesting job. So, and I love it. I love every minute of it.
And I do love that, because Tyra even alluded to the stereotypical parent is negative about things, right? Because you were talking about how your kids were young, and Tyra was like, "Hey, Charles is going to tell you, wait till they're teenagers." Yeah, and we talked about it on Be Awesome Together. Go check that out. But I do love every stage of my kids' lives. I do hate every stage of my kids' lives at the same time, but I'm more loving it than hating it. I mean, Kurt, you've transitioned to the grandfather era, and where you can just give them back when you're done. So how's that working out for you?
I tell you what, I loved being a parent. I was a parent of 2 kids, 4 years apart, but 1 boy, 1 girl, and I loved that to death. Grandparent, 10 times better.
Oh, wow.
It's all the good. My sole purpose is to be the favored grandparent. Period. End of story. And so the advantage that I have is that I am not afraid to be ridiculous. Wow. And so get on the floor with the kids and just be ridiculous, because most people my age won't, because they're too old. Great.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Advantage me. I don't care. I do love that. But I also think that, like, every generation tries to do better than the generation that raised them. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So when you tell the story about your mom, I start thinking about, wow, what was her childhood like? Because she was almost certainly trying to improve. Right. So we try to keep that kind of thing into perspective. Yeah. And at the end of the day, all of us never want to do the wrong things. And all of us are going to do the wrong things.
That's right.
And it's okay, because it comes from a place of love, and it comes from a place of, we just want to do the right thing. So the kids will be fine.
I mean,
it is. I promise you.
Yeah, I just aimed for not. You can't not do something. So
to be clear, her kids are going to be fine. I'm not sure about yours yet, Charles.
That's fair. But just nobody is prepared for it, Olivia. There's no manual. All you ever do, and that actually helped me get some healing with my own parents, because I had a lot of anger management issues as well from that kind of discipline being raised. And you said, how do you not know it? I can tell you, because I actually had the same thing. My wife at the time we were married a year, and she told me, you got major anger issues. And I laughed in her face. And I called my best friend who known me forever. It's like, you believe this crap? She said, I have anger issues. He goes, you
do.
don't think you have anger issues? I was like, what? And it's because, Olivia, you know you're angry. You know what you want to do about that anger, but you're not. So you think, I'm doing okay because I'm not actually putting that head through the window.
Right.
But everyone else is like, yeah, you think you're not, but we feel it. We feel it.
Yeah. Don't worry. Everybody knew except me. I don't know how that was possible, but ding, light bulb moment. I was like, okay, I do.
Kids are the brightest light. And I remember my son being 1 or 2 and just constantly just I was constantly. I was like, I got mad at him. And I'm like, what are you doing? And it was maybe a week later where I realized I had done that, and he was just reflecting my behavior back. Yeah, so it's a good long ride. You'll come out better for it. Your kids will come out better for it. And guess what? You're the only parent they know, so they won't know if you're a good mom or a bad mom. You're their mom.
Till much later.
Yeah, they're older. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
Random kid says parenting is tough, but therapy is expensive. So do a good job. Yeah, I told my kids, like, you have one fund. You can use it for college or therapy. That is your choice.
That's not a bad suggestion, honestly.
Yeah.
So I just tell mine, like, I'll pay for the therapy. Don't worry. So
My wife has said something like that. So actually, being that Sleigh Ride just launched, right?
Mm-hmm.
And production usually about 2 years. Were you pregnant at the time that you were shooting Sleigh Ride, or how'd that work with the kids?
So both of my kids were IVF babies because my husband and I are both older. And I want you to know the way that you love being a parent more than anything in the world is you wait until the very last second when it's almost not going to be possible and you're not sure you're going to get to, and then you get to be parents. And then you appreciate it on this whole other level where you're just like, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So but what happened was I planned it. So I had my son in February, and then we shot a sleigh ride in January, and then I got pregnant again in February.
Gotcha.
So, and then I had a baby later that year. So in 2023, I both shot the film and got pregnant and had a baby. And then in 2024, we got it out. So it was quite the ride. Haha, pun intended.
That's brilliant. That is, you got to do it twice. Or do you know if you're done, or you think you might try one more time? Or
we're done. I would love. We actually. So this is. I don't know if you guys. This is too much information probably, but with IVF, you get so many embryos, and we did. We ended up with 3 embryos, and 2 of them were healthy, and one of them was considered mosaic, which is an abnormal chromosome, but they don't know what the abnormality is. So it's weird. Anyway, so then they really encouraged us to implant the healthy 2, and the first one was my son, and the second one was my daughter, which is almost unheard of. I don't know if you know, but it doesn't always take, right? Like when you implant them, you don't. You aren't always so lucky as to get a baby out of that, and we were so lucky because we got a baby out of each one. And we considered going back and trying the mosaic, but I'm really old. And so we've decided that we'll probably, if he was normal, I don't think I'd be able to leave him there, right? I'd probably have to go. If he was like considered normal and chromosomically, everything was perfect, I'd probably have to go and have another baby. But because they're kind of encouraging you not to do that, I'm feeling okay about, like, we'll just have to be. Yeah, it's okay to be done. Thank you, Tyra. I appreciate that. Yes, we're done. So.
And that's why I phrased it that way. I didn't know about the IVF, but each parent, my kids are almost the same distance of age apart as your kids in each set. And we did that on purpose. We were about 8-9 months into my first son and went, we could do this again. And so we did. And then after my daughter was born, we're like, we're not done, but we're done for now. And then 5 years later, we felt like it's right. You just follow what works for you and your partner, and there's no wrong in any of it.
Yeah, we're super lucky. We feel like we've been really blessed with what to get what we got, because
Yeah.
it was the hard way. It's the hard way to have kids for sure with IVF. But man,
Yeah.
we're so grateful they can do all these things now and help you.
It keeps you from killing them. That's for sure.
We'll be like, we worked really hard to get you here. So
who put in Studio Ghibli?
I did.
All right, what you got?
All right.
So, look, while I am a nerd, I'm an old nerd, and I did not get on the Ghibli bandwagon. Everybody was raving about Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli and everything, and I didn't jump on it. And you guys, from past episodes, know how I feel about anime. It's a lot for me to take. Like, it's not something that comes naturally to me. But I said,
of its own.
I'm gonna make an effort with Ghibli, and I'm gonna start at the beginning. And so I finished watching Nausicaä today.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one either.
Nausicaa of the Wind? No, it was like the very first Miyazaki, and it was wonderful.
Yeah,
it was amazing. And the really, really cool thing, the score was ridiculously good. And then on top of all that, because I watched dub, I can't watch the subs. I don't have the attention span to. No, I don't have the desire to focus that much on reading while I'm watching a movie. So the English dub was redone in 2003 with Patrick Stewart, Shia LaBeouf, and Uma Thurman.
Oh yeah, they go all out for their dubs.
and a bunch of other like really well-known voice actors. And when I heard Patrick Stewart, I'm going, that's Patrick Stewart. Is he in this? Like what? Like it blew my mind, because I'm going, this movie was done in 85, I think, or 84, and I'm going, I know he was acting, but what? And no, they did the redo of the English dub in 2003.
Okay. Gotcha.
So that's what they did.
Nearly 20 years later.
Yeah. And it was wonderful. It was a little heavy-handed from save the planet from the poison standpoint, but it was really well done. It's a lovely, lovely movie. And so I'm going to start the second one. And I already have it queued up, but it is Castle in the Sky.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ride that wave as long as it keeps my interest. But it looks like if the first one is any indication, it absolutely will.
And to think about that first one was in the early 80s and how well it held up and looked, and the gore. I mean, when you get to his more actual modern works, it blows your mind. I'm sure. I can already see that. I mean, even the credit scenes, as they're rolling credits and they've got the animation still going, wrap up the movie. It's remarkable. And so yeah. So that was just a pleasant surprise for me. That pulled me a little bit away from all the 3D printing and the Balatro and other things that I'm doing right now. I got you from Balatro.
And Pokemon TCG Pocket. That's the other one. So
well, it's nice to see you branch out.
Every now and then.
So one of the most famous ones is My Neighbor Totoro.
Yep. I've heard of like most of these. Yeah. I just haven't seen any of them. So
yeah. Howl's Moving Castle. That's what I was trying to think of. That's probably my favorite, was that one. All right, Joe.
That is a good one.
Here we go. Kelsey says, we saw Balatro at GameStop last weekend for the Switch.
Yeah, she pointed out and like, hey, that makes me think of Kurt.
Yep.
I keep
fantastic game. Do not buy it. It'll suck your life away.
Absolutely. I bought it 3 times now. Twice.
So did
3
I.
times now. Yeah. And I've been sending Kurt all the TikToks because it's got a nomination for Game of the Year, right up there with like these AAA titles. And I was like, what is this little mobile type game doing up here with these AAA titles? So they try it out, and every joke is, all right, I'm gonna try out this stupid game. 5 hours later, look at this, look what I'm doing. Yeah, and that's the heart of the game. So I guess, Joe, that leaves you at King's Avatar.
Yeah. So I have mentioned this in the past on the show. There's 2 different versions of King's Avatar. There's the live action one on Netflix, and then there's the anime web series. And so I'm watching the season 3 of the anime that came out this past year, and it's been a lot of fun. Both versions have their own pros and cons, mostly because of the medium of animated versus live action. Because the live action focuses a lot more on the interpersonal relationships of the players, of the characters, whereas the anime focuses a lot more on the video game that's in the world, that's in the anime, because there's not extra budget to animate it because they're going to animate everything, whereas for the live action,
Right.
there's budget constraints because of animating the video game scenes. But it's been a lot of fun, and I'm loving it. And then the other thing I put in there for nerding out is Home Alone 1 and 2. Those are the first 2 Christmas movies that we've watched as a family. My kids absolutely love it. We've got to watch them every year. I love Home Alone 1 and 2. The other Home Alones I could care less about. But one and 2, I thoroughly enjoy. And I was talking to my youngest, and we were asking him what his favorite part of Home Alone was. And he just looked us straight faced, and he told us how much he loves when the bad guys get hurt.
It's very Tom and Jerry-esque in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just cackles, like especially in number 2 when Kevin is throwing the bricks down. Every single time Marv gets hit in the face, Jebediah is just cackling. Oh man, so much fun.
It's all fun and games until Joe comes home to a brick in the face.
Oh, I'm still laughing. I'll check on him, but I'm still laughing.
Oh man,
Sign that boy up for baseball. He's got great aim.
Yeah. My boys can watch the rest of them by themselves, but those first 2, we watch those basically every year as a family. Yeah. So,
Cool.
yeah, because I was just gonna say none of the other ones have Macaulay Culkin in them. So, and their plots get more and more ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
I hear you, man. We used to, when I was teaching at the EMT school full time, they would shut down for a couple weeks at the holidays. We'd go in the first week and a half of December, then have the rest of the month off, basically till after the first. Yeah. And so at that point, when I had that kind of time, we made it a holiday tradition to watch all the Die Hards as a family. Start with Die Hard. It's a Christmas movie, Joe. You stop sending me that lying trash out there. And then we just went through all the others. And while Live Free and Die Hard is definitively a 4th of July movie, we're not waiting. We watched it at Christmas. It was fun.